Hello friends, today I am here to discuss the chapter Atoms and Molecules from NCERT chapter number 3. Okay my friends, let us first discuss what is an atom. An atom is a particle which is indivisible in broader sense and the sense which this chapter gives us. Okay, let me give you an example. If you try to break this duster, break it, and again break it, you will reach a point where it cannot be broken up further. That substance would be called as an atom. An atom is indivisible according to this chapter, but now it has been discovered that atom can be broken up into three more subatomic particles, that are proton, neutron and electron. But let's for this chapter assume that atom is indivisible and go on to the laws of chemical combination. Laws of chemical combination. First I'm going to give you an example regarding the law of constant proportion 3.21. Okay, one day I saw a girl asking her mother how to bake a cake. Her mother said that for one of her cakes she took 2 eggs, 1 bowl of flour and 2 breads. Then the girl said, "Oh, I have 6 cakes in the granary. Can I take 6 cakes instead of 2, Mom?" She said, "No. If you take 6 eggs, you have to increase the other 2 things in the same proportion." This is how nature works exactly. According to the law of constant proportion, anything existing in nature as a compound will combine in the same quantity by mass of the 2 substances. Let us take the example of water, in which 2 atoms of hydrogen combine with 1 atom of oxygen to give out the outcome as water. Be the water from anywhere, mountains, rivers, lakes, and even a tap. Water is water, and it would have the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen as 1:8. Now let us move on to our second law, that is the law of conservation of mass. This law states that any 2 things when combined and form a compound, their mass, the sum of their mass before they are being reacting and after they have reacted would be same. In other words, if we say that the mass of the reactants is equals to the mass of the product. Okay, let me take an example. Let us take that we are reacting 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen. The mass of hydrogen is 1 gram and the mass of oxygen is 8 grams. So these 2 are the reactants. In other words, if we say this is the hydrogen and this is the oxygen. So if we will react them in 2, then hydrogen is 1 gram and it will have 2 atoms. So it will become 2 grams. So 2 grams of hydrogen we are taking and 8 grams of oxygen. These are our reactants. And we are trying to form H2O, that is the water. So it has formed H2O, that is 2 gram plus 8 gram. In a chemical reaction, the mass will remain same of the reactants and of the product. This is the law of conservation of mass. In simple words, I will just say that the mass of the reactants is equal to the mass of product. Then let's move on to Dalton. Actually, after giving these laws of chemical combination, the law of constant proportion given by Anthony Lavoisier and the mass of conservation of mass and the law of conservation of mass given by John Proust, they had another problem, that is the inappropriate the inappropriate explanation of these laws. They needed a theory, a strong one, which could explain these laws, and that was given by John Dalton. He said that each matter, be it hydrogen, be it oxygen, or be it anything, is composed of very small particles which are indivisible, and they form the matter we see around, the elements, the compounds, etc. He gave a very strong explanation of the two laws. For the first law, he gave his theory's postulate was that in a chemical reaction, atoms can neither be created nor destroyed. So each atom has a mass and they combine to form a matter. And if none of the matter would destroy or be created, then the mass of the reactants would be equal to the mass of the products. And this is how he explained his postulate of his theory explained the first law. Then the second law. For the second law, he had two postulates. One was that the different atoms of different elements combine in small whole numbers to form compounds. And this, so I'm going to write it. Elements, atom, combine in ratio of small whole numbers to form compounds. This was one of his postulates. Then the second postulate he gave for this theory was that they combine in a constant proportion, or in a compound, the ratio, the proportion they have are equal by mass in every compound. The relative number and kind of atom in a given compound is constant by mass. This explained the second law very nicely. So this is how John Dalton had made a revolutionary change in chemistry by giving his theory of the atoms and the postulates to explain the two laws.